Well, that was another great week of football, y'all.
For some people.
Glory be to Jesus Christ.
Glory forever. Welcome to Dynamite Duo Sports, the podcast where we recap and debate all things NFL with facts, including the fact that Indiana Jones has officially arrived. I'm Giuseppe.
I'm Antonios.
And today we are going to be recapping what was NFL Week 2, which, NFL Week 1 was crazy, but this one was just a different kind of crazy.
For you.
Well, I mean, there were a few things in this. But anyway, let's not waste any time. So we're, like last week, we're just going to go through the games real quick, give you a brief recap of the games we're not going to go into deep dive into, and then we'll go into deep dive into of the big games of Week 2. So, to start us off, on Thursday night, we had the Commanders taking on the Packers. Packers won 27-18. Jordan Love had a pretty solid game, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns, and their defense looked really dominant against that Commanders offense. Then we had the Browns taking on the Ravens. Ravens demolished the Browns 41-17. I know.
Great pick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to the picks where I was actually right later. Lamar, 225 yards, 4 touchdowns. Or that was just passing yards. I didn't look at his stuff. So big bounce back for the Ravens. Then Jaguars Bengals. Biggest story coming out of this game was that Joe Burrow out at least 3 months with a turf toe injury, which sounds a lot worse than, which is actually a lot worse than it sounds.
I really just want the Bengals to do well, but
yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but their backup quarterback came in, won 31-27.
Even throwing 3 picks.
Throwing 3 picks, which means the Jaguars offense or the Bengals defense is actually decent. I don't know. Then Giants taking on the Cowboys. Cowboys won 40-37. We'll take a deeper dive into that game later. Then we had the Bears taking on the Lions. Lions demolished the Bears 52-21.
I think that game proved that the Packers defense is just that good, by the way.
Yeah, it probably does. Goff 5 touchdown passes. Bears also probably aren't as good as we thought they were. Nowhere near as good as we thought they were, because we thought, okay, they could be okay.
I always knew the Bears were still the Bears, so.
Well, I thought they could have been somewhat decent. And that was another pick that went bold on in. It backfired. Now, then we got the Patriots-Dolphins. Patriots winning 33-27. I was this close to getting this pick right. But another note for the Patriots.
I crushed him picks this week, by the way.
So note for the Patriots, though. Drake May led your team in rushing with 33 rushing yards. And guess how many rush attempts you gave to Travion Henderson? 3.
Wait.
They gave him 3 rushing attempts in this game.
You draft him for a reason, guys.
In the second round, for a running back, that's a high draft pick. Use him. Ramondre Stevenson isn't it. Then we had the 49ers taking on the Saints. 49ers won 26-21. Mac Jones looked decent. Looked pretty good. They had 3 touchdowns. Saints, they're not good, but they're also not bad, I would say. So, they're
for what they have.
Yeah, so
okay.
like they're below average team, but they're not. I don't think they'll be the worst team in the league.
They got a tough schedule, so.
All right, then we got Bills taking on the Jets. Jets lose 10-30. That was backwards. Bills win 30-10. James Cook cooked. Josh Allen did what he needed to win, basically. He didn't have the flashiest numbers, but he didn't really need to. Then Jets fell back to earth against a better defense that they played this week, I guess. Then Seattle Seahawks take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seahawks win 31-17 off of one of the biggest blunders I've seen in special teams in years.
And it's surprising it was the Steelers special teams that did it.
Yeah, because their special teams coordinator is like the talk of the town for them, at least. Aaron Rodgers didn't really help. He had 2 interceptions.
One was not his fault, though. Route collision.
Yeah, but he also didn't lose them the game, I would say. It was more the defense and special teams that lost them that game. So, yeah, Steelers, get your defense together. Then we had the Rams taking on the Titans. Rams win 33-19. Titans actually kept it competitive for the first 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, for me as a Titans fan, I think this year we're not going to do amazing, but there's definitely promise for the future. So,
yeah. But yeah, Rams ended up pulling away, win by double digits. So yeah, Rams offense actually came to life, I guess.
All right, so now we're going into the games past 1 o'clock. We're now going to the 4 o'clock games. So now we have the Broncos and the Colts, which we'll talk about later. But Colts having a crazy win, 29-28. The Cardinals just beat the Panthers, 27-22. Panthers were looking very sloppy. Then they almost came back towards the end. They almost recovered fumble, which could have given them an opportunity, but they didn't. Bryce Young looked good because of that last-second comeback they're having with 328 yards and 3 touchdowns. Eagles, Chiefs, we'll talk about later. Eagles came out with the win in 2017. Falcons being the Vikings 22-6. Absolutely boring game, in my opinion. None of the quarterbacks look good. JJ had 2 picks. Bajan basically did everything. He had like 143 rushing yards over 22 carries. And then Buccaneers, Texans. What a crazy game. Baker Mayfield being the most clutch quarterback so far this season, was they won 20-19. He didn't have any. Yep. He didn't have any flashy stats. He was 25 for 38 with 2 touchdowns. 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. C.J. Stroud also very similar, 207 yards and a touchdown. So Baker Mayfield's definitely an MVP candidate after that game. He is that dog. So then the final game, Chargers being the Raiders. It was a little boring, but it was fun to watch the Chargers play offensively, 20-9. Herbert looking good. 19 out of 27, 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's very impressive. And then Geno Smith was awful. He threw 43 times for only 180 yards and 3 picks. That's just... I think the Chargers defense is just that good right now because of how they did to the Chiefs, they did it to the Raiders. So, yeah, that is the recap of the rest of the games.
All right, now let's get deeper into this Giants-Cowboys game that turned into a thriller? Yeah, Cowboys pulling out 40-37. Yeah, well, what are your thoughts on this game?
My thoughts are the Cowboys are missing the playoffs. There was a little bit, like after week 1, I did say it was against the Eagles, but I was like, the Cowboys, they could still make the playoffs if they do the right things. But then I watched this week and I'm like, no. Sorry, it's just, you're not gonna, you have the same case problem with like Bengals last year. You're just not gonna be able to win without a half-decent defense. And your defense looked half-decent against the Eagles, but it's just, whenever Dak's like the starting quarterback, they just seem to play better against the Eagles. But this week just showed that, yeah, it's just that Dak plays well against the Eagles. The whole team does when Dak's starting. So plus they also gave Russell Wilson like his greatest performance ever statistically for yards when he's washed. So yeah, my opinion from the game, just the only opinion is that Cowboys are missing the playoffs, or the Giants are actually just good, which I laugh at because they got crushed last week. So,
well, number one, they didn't get crushed because the other team couldn't score.
Crushed. So, 21-6. Right, anyway. Shut their defense out.
Okay, so I thought long and hard about what I was going to say about this. And I have to say, I didn't like this game. No. I love this game! You want to know why? Would you like to know why? Would you like to know why? It proves my point that Dak Prescott is definitively a top 10. He's not 10 quarterback in the NFL. Absolutely a top 10 quarterback. Jayden Daniels struggled against this defense last week.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Did you not watch the game? Did you not see his numbers? Did you not look at the highlights? He struggled against this team.
Because his O-line collapsed.
Oh my goodness! Now we're making excuses for a top 5 quarterback.
Even with the O-line collapsing, they still kept control of that game.
What about when Dak's O-line was collapsing last year?
He was not that good.
Yeah, guess what?
He was not that good, I just said.
Yeah, guess what? No, he was better than everybody gave him credit for because his whole team was collapsing around him. And this game, the defense, yes, they looked absolutely terrible. Shut up and let me talk
look at that. I got on his nerves.
Tony, I let you talk. You let me say my say. Then you can do whatever you want.
When someone says something stupid, you have to interrupt them.
You have to let me know. No, here's how it works.
Free country, baby!
Yeah, free country, which means you be respectful of the other person and let them say what they're saying. Then you can tell them that they're an idiot.
You're my brother.
So, here's what it is. Defense, yes, it was very bad. But I do want to point out, DeRon Bland did not play in this game. So, that League Neighbors would not have had the game he had if DeRon Bland was playing in this game.
And it was because Dak was good. Because you have a kicker that can kick 65 freaking yard field goals.
And Dak put him in the position to win the game.
No.
Yes, he did, Tony. Okay. That much you would hate to admit it.
If you did not have Brandon Aubrey, would you have won that game?
Well, what kicker do we have? That's my question to you.
Let's just say you have any other kicker. Kicker.
What about what if? Same thing you said about the Cowboys last week. What if CeeDee Lamb didn't drop those passes? You're like, what if?
Yeah, you gave a what if, and I said, yeah, they would have won if CeeDee Lamb caught them.
And guess what?
Most likely, yeah.
And guess what? What if we didn't have Brandon Aubrey? Who knows? Who knows if our kicker is good or not? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, though. If you, Zebby, Brandon Aubrey's 1 in a million. It's not because...
What if Deron Bland played this week? Do you think the Giants would have scored that many points?
Yes.
No,
it's not
they wouldn't.
Yes, they would have. It's not because, though, that I'm saying... It's not because Dak Prescott was good. It was that Brandon Aubrey is just
our
that
offense scored 37 points in regulation, Tony.
You always score a lot against the Giants.
But this Giants defense is supposed to be really good, which is why the Commanders struggled last week. Which is it? The Commanders' offense bad or Giants' defense good?
Commanders' O-line's bad is what it is.
The Commanders' O-line is bad.
But Jane Daniels played very
well. Is the
well.
Giants' defense good?
For an O-line that collapsed in a half second, Jane Daniels played really well, actually.
It's the Giants' defense good.
Their defensive line is good.
He can't pick. He's so biased against the Cowboys. It's so funny.
He's so biased about Dak Prescott. Trust me. People agree with me more than you, buddy. People agree with me more than you, buddy.
Forget about Dak Prescott. Let's go ahead and look at our running back, Javonte Williams, who had a very, very strong second half against the Giants. Vaunted defensive line. 97 yards and a touchdown.
Javonte Williams did well.
Yes. The offense,
not Dak?
The whole offense played great in this game, except for George Williams, where he had a offensive pass interference that wasn't offensive pass interference. Which
I need to see you play against the Packers before I can say anything about Cowboys.
I cannot wait for that game because I want to see how many points we can score against a good defense like that. Since we seemed
the Micah Parsons revenge
has been
is going to be sweet.
We had to play a legit defense, even though we played a legit defense that shut down the Commanders' offense for the most part.
No, they scored 21 points, 3 touchdowns.
They scored 21 points. That is below league average for a good offense.
21 points is normal if your O-line sucks and you're the only person that's actually doing stuff.
Tell that to the Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals had better line, and Joe Burrow still was able to step up. It's just their defense was awful. So that's the difference between the Commanders and Bengals is actually their defense is pretty good.
We're the Bengals of last year, basically.
The Bengals defense was not good last year.
That's my point.
The Commanders defense is pretty good right now.
I said the Cowboys are like the Bengals last year because our offense is really good, but our defense isn't as good as I thought they were in week 1.
Yeah, so it means you're going to miss the playoffs.
There's another question. Are the Eagles actually good on offense? I don't know. You tell me.
Well, that's the next question upcoming.
Yeah, those are our thoughts for the Giants Cowboys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, because please torch him in the comments, because he is absolutely wrong about the offense. You will never give Dak the credit he has earned.
Until he gets an NFC Championship, he will not get any credit. All right, so now we're going to get to the Colts and Broncos game, which, hey, I was wrong about this pick, but I'm actually kind of happy and wrong about it.
Hold on. Excuse me.
Listen, hey, do you want to do the theme song real quick?
If you know how to do it, go ahead.
Dun 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 dun. That's the beginning part.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, this is just like, if you want to talk about something that people would have laughed at, like, hey, Dan Daniels is going to be second to Lamar in fantasy points.
Jones, not Daniel
Sorry.
Daniels.
As you can see, that earlier we were talking about Daniels and such. So, Indiana Jones. Let's just go with that. Let's just call him Indiana Jones. I'm just going to call him that now.
Before you talk about it, I just want to say I was going to predict Daniel Jones was going to have a breakout season, but I watched him play in the preseason, and I lost confidence in that.
That's the problem I had with watching preseason. It's just like it makes you actually double think, like, things you were thinking about before, because the preseason doesn't really, I think, reveal too much about players, because they can look good and then be awful, and then they can look awful but be good. So, but to go on a recap, Indiana Jones, yes, I'm going to call him that until he plays bad. He was 23 for 34, 360 yards, and a touchdown plus a rushing touchdown. Jonathan Taylor had a phenomenal game with 25 carries for 165 yards. Fantasy. 2 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. I think it's safe to say Jonathan Taylor's back. Then Jaden Daniels threw to a lot of the players in the game, but the three biggest.
Why do you keep calling him Jaden Daniels?
Did I call him Jaden Daniels?
Yes, you did.
I just like Jaden Daniels so much. Indiana Jones. He threw to a lot of players, but the top three were Tyler Warren, 4 catches for 79 yards, Pierce for 4 catches for 68 yards, and Downs for 6 catches and 51 yards. So Indiana Jones is throwing to a lot of players, which is good to see in a quarterback, actually, because you want to see a quarterback that can throw to everybody, not just the one guy who you trust the most. If you can trust everybody, that's really good for an offense. Back on the Broncos side, Bo Nix looked better than week 1. He had 206 yards through 30 times, 22 completions, 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. Dobbins stepped up in this game. He had 14 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Offensively, he also threw to multiple receivers. 3 of them, Franklin, Mims, and Trotman caught the 3 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton did not have a good game. He had like 1 catch for like 6 yards. So I think the big takeaways with this game, though, is that were the Broncos overhyped? And for me, I'm not quite sure yet. Though there's a good chance they could be. Or the other option is the Colts were just underhyped. Like a lot. But who actually thought Daniel Jones would actually be like that good? Like who actually thought that? I mean, I know you were thinking it. You were thinking it.
I'm gonna do my best Harrison Ford impression. It's terrible. Oh my goodness.
Stop.
Never mind.
Stop.
I was going to.
Oh my gosh.
I did think he could do that. I thought he could do it, but I lost faith in him since that preseason, like I said before. But anyway, that was embarrassing. He looked great against what we thought was going to be the best defense in the NFL, basically. So
yeah, and it's like week 1 when they beat the Dolphins, we're like, oh, it's because their secondary's bad. But then they did against the Broncos secondary. We're like, so is their secondary
and you know what?
Bad or is it good?
He
and the Dolphins secondary's not bad.
Similar numbers to when he played the Dolphins secondary. So maybe the Dolphins secondary is actually good. I don't know.
Yeah, my ultimate takeaway from this game, though, is just the Colts actually could be a really good team. However, this could be like Derek Carr last year with the Saints, where if something wrong happens, it can all collapse.
I do need to make one fact here.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
They are the first team in the Super Bowl era to never punt in their first 2 games.
It's insane.
Like greatest show on turf? What? Part number 2.0? I don't know.
Yeah.
You tell me. But
because with Derek Carr last year, after the first 2 games, they just collapsed. To be fair, their center got hurt and everything went wrong. I do need to see like one more game. They are playing another tough defense next week, the Titans defense. So it will show if Daniel Jones is consistent and if he's actually good. But I do feel pretty confident that they actually could be good this year. And Texans and Jaguars, they better watch out, honestly.
Yeah,
they better watch out.
Yep, I think Texans might be in trouble.
And my ultimate takeaway for the Broncos is they might need to be concerned about their defense if they're actually going to be as good as we thought. And then Bo Nix, it seems like he's kind of starting to slowly go back because the Colts defense is pretty solid. He played well. It was just a doink and then a penalty for the 6-yard field goal that the Colts missed. So it was the Broncos' game to lose, and they messed up. And it wasn't really Bo Nix's fault. So in my opinion, I think Bo Nix is fine because week 1 was concerned. But that's my ultimate takeaway. Broncos, I wouldn't be like concerned about your season. There's still some things you got to address. Colts are they actually could be really good this year.
We will see.
It's crazy. All right, so now we're going to talk about the Eagles and the Chiefs. Eagles won 2017. Hurts, he didn't have to do much to win this game. He only had 101 passing yards.
You could also say he didn't look that impressive. Just saying.
No, because he didn't have to. That's the whole point. He didn't have to. Saquon, 88 yards, touchdown. It's what I thought because when they play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he didn't do much. So, Mahomes, on the other hand, it was 16 out of 29, 187 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And to be fair, that he had 1 big touchdown play that if you took that out of his stats, he would have looked awful.
Here's what
and he also was top in rushing yards. 66 yards.
Yes, but
more than all the other running backs.
I will say though, I don't blame Mahomes for this loss.
Yeah, his top 2 wide receivers are hurt, so it's
his best receiver is Travis Kelce, who
dropped a pass
and it was
got picked
when they were at the 4-yard line. So the game could have been. We could have been talking about the Chiefs being the Eagles if it weren't for that. So
Well, no, because then Eagles would have actually tried scoring on harder.
what if?
I know. What if they would have lost? They probably.
No, you don't know that because then Mahomes throws that touchdown, so they would have been up had 24 points.
No. I said the Eagles probably would have lost.
Oh,
what I meant.
I thought you were saying the Eagles would have won.
Now, another big question everyone has, should they be concerned about the Eagles this year, about how they're playing and such? And the real answer, whether he wants to deny or not, is let's go back to last year when they went 2-2, and they were 1-2. Then they beat the Browns barely, and people were like, does Nick Sirianni need to be fired? Is this team just going to suck? And then they went and won a Super Bowl. To be fair, this is a team that just won the Super Bowl, so there are higher expectations. But at the same time, they could be one of those teams where they just start slow.
Here's what I think.
But of course, he's going
to They're going to be like the Chiefs from last year, where everybody knows they're not as good as their record says.
And it's just really tight games.
Yeah, it's going to be really tight games. It's going to not be fun to watch.
And hey, look, I don't want the Eagles to go in the Super Bowl again because I like variety in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I don't want them to be
NFL,
good.
The variety.
But again, I need to, me personally, if people want to say Eagles suck, go ahead, but I'm waiting till halfway through the season to actually see if this is the same as last year where it's slow and then they pick up. Now, the big question for the Chiefs is if they're going to struggle this much, are they going to fall back so much that once the receivers come back, it's too late to actually start catching up to go to playoffs?
And the rumors...
lucky for them, though, the Bengals, Joe Burrow's hurt. So that does make it a little easier for getting a slot in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, but the only thing about that is I feel like somebody else might replace them. And honestly, I got to be honest with you. I'm worried about them missing the playoffs. A little bit. A little bit. A little bit. But the reason
my number 7 seed pick is starting to look a little...
Too nice. Here's the thing. I know it's just week 2, so this is obviously an overreaction. But here's the thing. They'll be lucky if they go 1-5 before they get Rashee Rice back, because I
would say lucky. I would say that's what they're most likely going to get.
Because Lions, they're playing them. I forget when they play them, but they're playing them in the next 3 weeks. They looked good against the Bears. Against the Bears defense that we thought was good, and the Chiefs defense. Let's be honest, they haven't looked impressive, and also they seem really out of sync. Even though the Eagles only scored 20 points, but I'm just saying, the Chargers game, they didn't look good. Eagles, Chris Jones is man, you only had 100 yards. And
Joe Hurt's that's all I needed.
Yeah, no, it's like, man, shut up. We won the game. So, yeah. Chris Jones does have a point, but the fact that he said that just tells me that the pressure is getting
Not to mention Kelsey, having multiple temper tantrums on the field.
Yeah, that's another thing.
It's it just, the atmosphere.
Taylor Swift, that breakup album might be coming out soon.
Nah, it could just be the stress of being engaged, so it's making him act like that for all we know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about football. So I think there's the chemistry between the players and the atmosphere is just not in the right place for them right now. And it is very stressful because the top 2 wide receivers getting hurt. And, for me, it's there is a concern. My outcome from this game is there is a concern for the Chiefs if they're going to be able to bounce back before it's too late. And then Eagles, the ultimate concern for me is I have to wait. He thinks there's a concern now, but I say I got to wait.
It's more of a offensive concern at this point.
Now, do I think Eagles going to go Super Bowl again this year? I actually don't think that. I think they won't make it. But
you pick the Packers. So,
but hey, that pick's not looking too bad right now.
Yeah, I know. Let's wait and see. And so, yeah, that was our NFL week 2 full recap. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. What were your favorite moments from week 2? Let me know. And just also a heads up, next week we will not be posting any videos because we will be traveling next week and we won't be getting back until Wednesday. So on Wednesday night, we are going to be going live on YouTube. So if I will be posting throughout the day on Wednesday, and also, basically I'll be posting whenever I get a chance to. Just to give you an idea of when we're going to be going live. And then when we get back, I'll probably give an hour before we go live. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. So be sure to be following us on all our socials, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Giuseppe.
I'm Antonio.
And this has been Dynamite Duo Sports.
Baker Mayfield, MVP.
Yes, sir.